Well, I guess hello, welcome again. This is Ghillie suit 1, actually. This is the first Ghillie suit that I started making. I know that some people well, they weren't really liking my old Ghillie suit, seeing as how it was a double-sided Ghillie suit. So I decided to smack them all in the face and finish the first Ghillie suit that I ever started, which is made straight of burlap. And yes, this is one-sided, as you can tell. So let the hating begin. Alright, I guess today I'm going to show you the breakdown of this Ghillie suit. And, well, seeing as how I already made it, I can't really show you how, but I can tell you how. Alright, so first off, I'm going to show you guys the hat. This is nothing but a ballpark hat, really. I know I degraded a hat, but oh well. Now, this is really easy to make. Like I said, all these items are basically things you can make straight at home. You don't need any fancy equipment or fancy materials. What I did was I took a baseball cap, and I took netting like this, as you can see under the net, and I hot glue gunned it to the ballpark hat in certain spots, and critical spots, that way it would stay on. I strung it, as you can see. This is the longest process I'm making a Ghillie suit, is stringing. I strung it, and that's why it looks actually really good. Now, a big problem that I was trying to tackle with Ghillie suits is trying to find an easy way to wear the Ghillie suit without having to sew it on anything or glue it to your clothes and ruin the uniforms. And I actually found one way that would work, but it would require a tactical vest, which I just happen to have one because I paintball and airsoft. What you can do is actually put it on this vest, because this vest has rings that you can easily attach the Ghillie suit to, and it stays pretty high on the neck, that way the back of your neck isn't showing. This is probably actually the easiest application. I've still got straps on my hands, that way it'll stay up on my arms. But this I found was actually really useful. I really like this vest. It really did help me a lot. I'm not telling you to go out and buy a vest just for a Ghillie suit, but it looks good, so why not buy it? And it's easier to put on the Ghillie suit. Now I'll show you how I've got this attached to the vest if you want to do it. Alright, now essentially this Ghillie suit is two big pieces. There is the leggings and the top, the torso, if you will. Now, like I said, I've got this attached to this vest in actually key areas. How I attached the top, first of all, which is probably the part I should show you first, is there are rings on these vests' shoulders, right here. And what I did was I took two big safety pins, and I put them around the net and around that. So it stays on my shoulder. I put two just in case, that way they don't bend and the Ghillie suit falls off or I stab myself. Then I did the same on the opposite side, and I made sure that there was a little slack in between, that way it would stay up pretty high. And that's basically the top. The top was really easy to attach to this vest. Now the bottom is a little bit more difficult. It's not that much more difficult, but yeah, see, I can lift it up and show you the back of the vest. But anyway, the bottom was a little bit more challenging. Now what I did was I took again the net in two spots, here and here, and I safety pinned them, like I said, through the rings and actually through the vest this time, into the back section of my vest. And now that solved the problem of it I guess you call it low riding. And even if it does sag a little bit, the top Ghillie suit is long enough to cover any slack that you didn't cover. Goodness. And then I put a ribbon, a ribbon on the end of the Ghillie suit. I tied it to the netting, and then I actually tied it to these belt loops that are on the vest, so that way it stays on my side, and honestly, it works out really nicely. I would recommend doing it if you have a tactical vest and if you want to actually use it for such. And like I said, obviously safety pins come off very easily. It doesn't ruin your vest. All you gotta do is lint roll it a little bit to get all the extra fibers off, but otherwise, honestly, it's pretty great. Alright, now the last thing is that if you're going to use this for paintball or airsoft, you obviously can't wear the hat over a face mask because well, it just doesn't work unless you have a really stretchy hat, but I don't know why you put Ghillie on that anyway. So I'd recommend getting a pair of these. They're the airsoft made goggles. and obviously these really work. Just make sure you get a mouthpiece to cover your mouth, that way you don't chip out your teeth. But anyway, I'm going to show you guys how I went about making this thing. Now, oops, I almost scratched my goggles. Now, the first thing that you obviously will do is buy lots of burlap. Burlap, unlike jute, is thinner. It looks better. It looks a lot more like dead grass, and I like it a lot more than the jute, just because of how detailed it is and how it threads. Now, how you make it is you cut out a triangle piece, if you want. I prefer triangle. A triangle piece of net, cargo netting, which you can get at your local Michael's art store, like I said in my other video. The burlap, let me skip around. The burlap you can buy at Walmart. They sell it by the yard, which is actually pretty useful. And after you buy the burlap, you can do one of two things. You can string it out as one big piece, which I would recommend, because you waste a lot less burlap if you just string out the whole thing and then cut those strings of burlap into sections. But what I did, which I regret doing, is I cut it into strips, and then I had to start stringing out these one by one, these little smaller threads, until I got this. Alright, now what you're going to do is you're going to take the threads that you string out, like so, and tie them onto the netting, just like I showed in my previous how to make a ghillie suit video. The technique's basically the same, but the only difference is that you're not going to shape the netting into the shape of a shirt. You're just going to cut it out into big triangles that are about as long as your arm span and reach down just below your back. And then you're going to repeat the process with the leggings if you want, and make a belt out of it. That's more efficient. That's what I did. And then, like I said, you just cut out the net, string out the jute. Oh my gosh, string out the burlap. Excuse me, and tie it on. And paint it or dye it accordingly. It works pretty well. It looks really good at night. Like I said, I went ghillie suiting with a friend of mine at night, and it's pretty darn good. That's about it. Hope you guys enjoy it. Well, that's about it. Yeah. Again, go away.